So today we're going to be looking at some insane student debt. We're going to be mainly focusing on the UK as usual, but there is some US student debt in here because the US student debt is insane and it is actually enforced like a actual loan you take for a bank, which is crazy. Obviously in the UK it's not enforced the same way here. It's more of a tax here, I guess, in the UK, where if you don't make a certain amount of money, you're not paying it back, which is probably better than the way the US do it because you can't even go through bankruptcy to get rid of that loan. That shit is on you forever. And it's definitely more predatory over there, although I wouldn't say it's great over here. I think in the UK, we're probably going to head towards a US system eventually. They're dropping a lot of the requirements here as well. At one point, it was, you earn 27k, you pay it back. Now I think they've dropped it to 25. Also, the amount of time it will take to expire, I think it went from 20 years to 30 years, or was it 30 to 40? It's insane. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into this video and let me know how much student debt you have, or if you've paid it off, or if it got written off, or what. If you're in the US, I kind of feel sorry for you. You got to make that a priority. But over here, it's a little bit better.
Guys, please stick to the end of this video. But how have I just logged into my student loan finance thing to see how much I owe? So before I show you, just bear in mind I've graduated for like I think 6 years now, and I pay about £70-ish a month each month towards this loan. And on some,
I'm not gonna lie, if the balance is like what, probably 50, 60k, what do most people leave with? I mean, if you're only getting the course paid for, I think it's almost 10k. Yeah, I think it's 9,750 now. So let's just say 10, you're leaving with about 30, right? Obviously, most people take a maintenance loan, which is between, again, like 9 to 14,000 a year. So you could be leaving with upwards of 50, 60, and that's if you don't do a master's degree or anything. So if he's only paying £70 a month, that's probably not even putting a dent in that. I'd say he's probably averaging going up just because of the interest.
some months I pay a bit more, especially like March time when it's like bonus and stuff. I pay much more. But yeah, just bear that in mind before I show you this figure. Are you ready? It's literally enough for a house deposit.
Of course it is.
£46,427 and 85p. And the craziest thing is I didn't even need this degree to do what I'm doing now. So
I think that is a big thing with a lot of people who get degrees, man. I think most people don't even use the degree they get. So unless you're going into STEM or you genuinely need this degree, I would recommend just don't do it at this point, or at least take some years to think about what you're doing. Because for me personally, I went to university straight after school and I lasted one term and I was like, bro, this is not for me. I was studying accounting and finance and I was like, this shit's boring. I don't want to do this. I just went through, what, 15 years of school? You start at 3, finish at 18. You've gone through 15 years of school and you're like, I don't want to go do 3 more and do the most intense and the hardest part right now. So I took a break and right now I've actually gone back to get a computer science degree because, yeah, a decent degree. And I actually thought about it and I was like, yeah, this is a degree I could use. It's going to get me into fields I want to go into. Whereas I think most people just say, fuck it, I'm going to go because everyone else is going. And then they wind up with a degree that they don't need or they didn't want or they don't use anymore.
if that is not a scam, then I do not know what a scam is. But one bit of advice I can give anyone who wants to go and study business management at uni: don't go. Go work at Tesco. Trust me, you'll thank me.
I mean, I'm not sure it's a scam. You know what you're getting into. You could argue it's maybe a bit predatory, but you know what you're signing up to. You have to read when you apply for student finance, you read it, you know how it works. They explain it to you there, If you do a little bit of research, you understand that, and it's just the way it works. I wouldn't say, again, it's a scam because after a while, it will just get written off anyway. So if this guy doesn't pay it back, it's going to get written off. I still think eventually, like I said in the intro, it will go back to they'll enforce it for your whole life. And then this guy's saying don't study business management. I would say that business is probably not something you need to study. It's probably one of the most oversubscribed degrees. I would just say you would get a lot more if you just go do some work experience in a business. If you know someone who runs a business, just ask them to do a little bit of work or ask them to show you what they do or something like that. I think that would be a lot easier. And if you could work your way up in a Tesco or something to like a management role, you'd probably get a lot more experience than just doing a 3-year degree and wasting all that money, and you'll be earning at the same time, which is also great. So let's take a little look at the US as well. I'm going to have a bit of intermingled clips. We're going to go from the US to the UK just to see some of the difference. But yeah, let's have a look at what this woman's student debt is.
Everyone's always like, Brenda, why are you working so hard? Why are you doing a full-time job and posting on TikTok all the dang time? It's because I have $78,327 in student loans. And you want to know how much unpaid interest I accrued in the month of February? $523.93. And this is me paying at least...
That's crazy, by the way. Almost what, 600, coming up with $600 a month in interest. I mean, that's a rent payment, and she pays $2,000 towards it a month. $2,000 a month towards a student loan. And that's the big difference between the UK and the US here, because you don't have to force yourself to pay the UK one. I mean, it's like I said, it's like a tax. They just take it from you. I think it's up to 9% of your income. So the more you earn, the more they take. And I'm assuming that the majority of people don't even pay it off these days. But in the US, it's enforceable, mate. they're going to take that money, you're going to pay it, and it's going to keep going up. And there's some comments here of people saying here, look at this, 650,000 in student loan. What the hell? That's a house, brother. That's a house. How's he paying that off? How's he ever paying that off? 170, he went to med school and dropped out. I mean, yeah, that's an L. I mean, if you're gonna go to med school, you might as well finish it at that point. I mean, it's crazy to see the amount of debt people can go into, especially in the US, man. And then they have to pay this mega amount back to it.
At least a minimum of $2,000 per month. Started with a little bit over $150,000 because I had the bright idea of going to grad school so that I can graduate in a healthcare job to help people, but not get paid enough for the amount of student loans I had to take out.
So 150 total. I mean, she's kind of halved it, to be fair. That's pretty good. She made a decent dent in that, but she said in the medical field, to get 150 for the medical field, unless you're a doctor or a nurse, what are you doing then? Like, I need to know what, because those, in the US, those professions earn a lot of money. Like, if you're a doctor, even though you take out a lot of student loan, you can pay that back pretty quick because you earn a lot. And same with nurses, they earn quite a lot. So what is she doing to not earn that much money? She just said she wants to help people, but she wasn't getting paid enough. Or is that some kind of entitlement thing? Like, what's going on?
My fault, I went to a private university, but still, it shouldn't be this hard to pay off student loan. But based on my PT salary alone, there is absolutely no way that I could pay this much with just that salary alone and live a breathable, decent life. Make it make sense?
I mean, I'm not sure about that. What even is a PT? I thought I was a personal trainer. But she says a livable, breathable life. What does that mean? Does that mean going on holiday, owning a car, owning a house? Maybe not. But if you want to focus on paying that off and sacrifice, you probably will be able to pay it off. Here's one of those. I know there's also, as she mentioned, there's a difference between like private universities and like what community college or whatever. It can be a lot cheaper to get a degree from a lesser known university over there. Whereas if you go to one of the big ones, you're going to rack up a lot of debt unless you have like scholarships and stuff. And that is a big difference. I've realized that in the UK, people seem to care a lot more about what university you've gone to. Like, oh, I've seen job applications that are like, oh, we need someone from the Russell Group universities. And the Russell Group isn't necessarily even the best universities in the country, all of them. Like, there's a lot of universities that are very good that are not in it. I think in the UK, it can be more of a status symbol to say, I went to this university, right? Whereas in the US, yeah, there might be 5 or 10 that are very reputable, like Harvard or MIT or whatever. But at the end of the day, it just depends what degree you got and I guess the grade you got, right? Not necessarily the university you went to.
That is how much I owe on my student loan. £55,912. So that was me back in September ranting about my student loan. And if you have followed me for a while, you will know that this is a topic that I feel very passionately about. And I think the system is really, really unfair. I think, in fact, it is a scam. So as you can see, the amount I owed in September was £55,912. And just for clarity, I did a 3-year degree with a placement year. And during my placement year, which was between the 2nd and 3rd year, I had to pay an admin fee to stay enrolled at my university, which is optional. Unis do not have to do this. University of Reading make you do this, which I think is unfair in itself. It should be equal across the board. And that admin fee was around £3,000. And so the total amount of my degree was £9,000 a year. It should be about £30,000. In September, I owed £55,000. Logged on today. I now owe, this is yesterday, £56,469.
I mean, it's just basic interest. I mean, she probably, again, if it's doing the salary thing where it takes from your salary, if you don't earn enough, you're never going to pay the debt. It's just going to keep going up. That's just kind of how interest works. I don't get why these people say it's a scam. You knew what you were signing up for, bro. Like, the debt's never going to go down unless you pay extra towards it. And in most cases, people don't need to pay extra because, like I said, it gets written off after like what? I mean, she's probably a bit older, so it's probably what, the 20-year mark. Now I think it's like 30 years or whatever. So, I mean, yeah, it's not nice to see that you have a 56 balance there, but it's not like a traditional loan. And yes, the interest rate may be a bit predatory. You may feel like you didn't understand what was going on.
And just to make it clear, I pay back £200 a month to the student loan company. So although I have paid £200 a month since the last video, I owe £557 more. And I looked at when I started paying back my student loan, because you pay back your student loan after you earn a certain amount of money. I started paying my student loan back in 2020.
I think we understand the gist of this. It's just simple math, really. This is the way how the interest works. I mean, you can say that interest is predatory or whatever. I mean, the government are trying to make money. It's just how a loan works. I wouldn't say it's necessarily predatory, guys. You know what you're signing up for, bro. It is what it is. If you don't want student loans, go do an apprenticeship or something like that. There's plenty of other options you can do. I've kind of explained how student loans work. We're going to listen to this guy explain how it works. I feel like a lot of people in the UK might not necessarily understand how it works. Like, I feel like that woman, it seemed like she didn't properly understand. I know we didn't go through the entire 4 minutes of her explaining, but she was waffling for the most part. So
student loans don't actually put you into debt. Well, it does, but it is circumstantial. So whenever you take a credit card or a loan, there's an interest rate and there is an effect on your credit score. Whenever you take a student loan, it is completely different. Student loans are only repayable if you make a certain amount of money per year. That, and they get written off after a certain amount of years, and it has no effect on your credit score. So let's say you have a Plan 5 student loan. This is any student loan for undergraduates who have started university after August 2023. Well, if you made £25,000 a year or less, you would never pay back any of your student loan. And if you made more, you'd be paying back 9% per year of anything over that £25,000. And if you have a Plan 5 loan, it will be written off 40 years after the April you were due to start repaying. So in this way, if you have a failed career or it doesn't work out, you aren't penalised as much as, let's say, other countries like America, where the student loan is treated like actual debt and an actual loan.
So, very eloquently explained there. I mean, I was wrong. I thought it was only 30. I mean, it must have been 30 years before, and they've just upped it to the 40 years. So, I mean, they're giving people as much opportunity to pay back the money as possible, I guess. They're increasing the years, which, I mean, I guess it makes sense from their point. They actually want you to, they obviously want you to pay money back, right? The government don't just want to be losing thousands of millions or billions on student loan, right? But I do think that, like you said, America, way worse. It's actually a real debt. This is not on your credit record. It's not going to affect your credit history. It's not going to affect you buying a house potentially or getting approved for other loans. So I do think while some people say it's very predatory, and yes, I bet it's not nice to see 200 or however much coming out of your paycheck every month and the loan balance not coming down. But at the end of the day, just be grateful that it's not fucking America where they're going to enforce that.
I have a £70,000 student debt. Here's how I'm paying it back. Long story short, I'm not and I never will. I studied for a master's in electronic engineering.
I mean, just make sure you look at it. It said there, no direct payment, so he's not paying any extra on what he's paying from his salary, probably.
Which took 4 years and left me with a total debt of £56,000. But then why is my debt now £71,000, £15,000 more than what I borrowed?
Interest, guys. You know what I've actually realized is by watching a lot of these financial shows on YouTube and seeing a lot of this, you know, even short clips, people don't actually understand how interest works. Like, I find it very weird. When I was at school, we actually did a finance course in like year 8 to year 9, and we got an actual GCSE out of it, which I understand not every school provides that and not everyone understands finances, right? And maybe not everyone's interested in finances, but I find it weird that people just don't understand how interest works. I find it very weird because I see especially Caleb Hammer's show, I see so many people saying, well, the credit card is 30% a month. I'm like, brother, all my credit cards, I don't even know what the interest rate is because I never plan on paying a cent of interest to any of these companies. You know what I mean? I don't even check what the interest rate is because I know I'm going to pay it back at the end of the month regardless, right? And I guess some people, they get dragged in. Like, I don't care if the interest rate is 100%, 30%. I mean, some of them are crazy, like 87%, right? I'm never going to get to that point because I'm going to pay my balance off in full every month. So I find it weird that some people just don't understand interest, because obviously student loans accrue interest. It says it in the it says it when you apply for it that it starts accruing it immediately as well.
That's because of the crazy high interest rate on my student loan. Because my student loan
also 4.3% is not a crazy high interest rate for a loan, I don't think. I'm sure most of them are higher. I mean, I don't know if it changes with the Bank of England's rates, but I mean, credit cards, like I said, 30%. I mean, most loans are probably higher than that. Car loans can be 8% plus, right? Even mortgages, 5-6%. So, yeah.
Plan 2, I only pay back 9% of what I earn over £27,000 per year. And 30 years after graduating, my loan will be completely wiped. But the issue there is
nowadays, by the way, that's gone to, I think, 25 and 40 years. So,
that every time I pay back between £70 and £180 per month, depending on how much I earn that month, my debt increases £200 to £300. I will never pay off my student loan, and I'm okay with that because, in my opinion, overpaying is dead money.
Correct.
Instead of throwing any spare money I have into what feels like a bottomless pit, I'm putting it to work by investing it into my long-term future. Right now, I'm investing a significant amount of my income into a global index fund through a stocks and shares ISA.
So I think this explains most of the advice I've been adding to this video, whereas like you don't necessarily need to pay extra to your student loan. I mean, yes, it will be annoying to see the tax come out, but especially with the UK salaries, you're never going to ever pay that back for the most part. I don't think most people pay it back. I'm actually going to Google what percentage of people pay their student loans back in the UK. So it actually says the government expects 56% of people to pay back their entire loan in full, starting from like this year. So the last few years, people start studying now will pay back. And I mean, that's like half the people aren't gonna pay it back. I mean, yeah, it's mad. Most people don't ever earn that much salary.
I'm 35 years old and in $169,292.74 of debt, and I still live at home with my parents. And you might as well bump that up to $266,722.97 in debt if you add in how much I will pay in interest. I started aggressively looking at my debt in January and truly didn't know the full financial picture until I got it all down on paper. Debts include 2 private student loans, 10 federal student loans, 1 auto loan, 1 private loan, and
Why does this woman
I'm 35
have 12 student loans? Like, just like I said, just be grateful you don't live in America, guys. Okay, especially when it comes to student loans. Just be grateful. If you live in the UK, when it comes to student loans, that's one thing we've got over America at the moment. Because, Jesus Christ, woman said she took out 12 student loans. 12. It's probably over hundreds of thousands of dollars there. Crazy work, crazy work. So, I mean, yeah, I think that's a great place to end it, guys. I mean, yeah, if you have any other topics you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, that's all I got for you today, and I'll see you all in the next one.